All right, what is up, my friends? Welcome to the final chapter of my complete set review for Phyrexia. All will be one.
We are the Borg.
Watch out now. We've done everything so far. White, blue, black, red, green, and the multicolored cards. The last thing to do is the colorless cards. That includes the artifacts and the lands as you go over every single card for constructed and limited play. Give out our rewards, do all the usual good stuff. Check it out. I'm pumped for it. I want to remind you all that 10 New Brews is going to be next Thursday. February 2nd, 10 New Brews, a lot of fun. Also, pre-release is going to be on the 11th in my Discord for YouTube members and Twitch subs. A lot of fun, free to play with prizes for subs. Also want to remind you all, unfortunately, somewhat bad news here. Bronze to Mythic is going to be happening after I return from the Pro Tour. It's going to be a little bit different because the set releases for the first day. If you don't know, there's a Pro Tour coming up. Pro Tour Philadelphia, February 17th, Pioneer and Draft in paper. And I leave for the Pro Tour testing house on the 7th, which is the day the set releases. So therefore, it would be impossible for me to do Bronze to Mythic before leaving. So it's going to be a little bit different this time. I'll be doing Bronze to Mythic in Pro Tour level shape at the start, which is not how you should do a show. It's not how I prefer to do a show, but it's how it's going to be. So look for that one on my Bronze to Mythic channel and stuff like that. It's going to be a lot of fun. So let's get right to it here as we get into our last section with Argentum Mastercore. No awards. 5 mana for a 5/5 first strike pro multicolored. Beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice the Mastercore unless you discard a card. When you discard a card this way, destroy target non-land permanent. An opponent controls mana value less than or equal to the mana value of the card discarded. Pretty interesting card, honestly. So, at first glance, this card felt trappy to me because pro multicolored is not a very relevant line of text. 5/5 first strike is a decent size for sure. And Mastercores tend to be kind of because discarding a card is so bad. However, the value here is pretty good. So you discard a card and you can destroy something immediately without spending mana. That's actually pretty good. So I'm not sure exactly what deck would want this card, but it is certainly not that bad. And it is pretty cool. This can destroy different things. It can destroy enchantments, it can destroy artifacts, planeswalkers, as long as you're discarding things that cost enough mana. So kind of cool, maybe even in like a Reanimator deck or something like that. Discard like Titan of Industry, kill a huge thing. Reanimate it, be kind of cool. I don't know, honestly. It's definitely, there are no real drawbacks anymore. You're not wrong. Even the drawbacks are upside these days, right? Back in my day, you Mastercore discarded a card and you didn't get shit. You just discarded a card. You were happy to have a damn Mastercore. But yeah, pretty cool card. I definitely think that, this is a very interesting card. I think that we don't know where it goes. You know, that's the biggest concern. But the power level is definitely there. Busted limited card for sure. But I think this card's got a shot in constructed. It's also an artifact. It's important to note, so you can ramp it out in your Power Stone decks. You know, it's very important when we're looking at cards from a new set is to not forget the old sets and think about what elements of those sets will these new cards fit into, because nothing's in a vacuum, obviously. So let's go. Next is Atrax's Skitterfang. 3 mana for a 2/2. EDV with 3 oil counters on it. Many combat of your turn, you may remove an oil counter, and if you do, a creature you control gains Flying, Vigilance, or Death Touch, or Lifelink. So adorable. It's the abilities that Atraxa has. Pretty cool card for limited, honestly. There's a lot of very good oil stuff, and you know, if you give your 4/4 Flying or Lifelink, it's pretty awesome. So pretty good card, honestly. Pretty good draft card. Good payoff for oil counters. I like it. Solid card. Basilica Skull Bomb. Not Spell Bomb, Skull Bomb. Just very silly, honestly. Similar to Spell Bombs, 1 mana artifact, pay 1, sacrifice to draw a card. These all have an ability at sorcery speed that draws a card as well. 3 mana to give a creature +2/+2 and flying on a turn, and then draw a card. Honestly, pretty good. Like, the cantrip +2/+2 evasion is pretty awesome, honestly. Drawing cards pretty great, and then white cares about artifacts as well. So the card's good. Honestly, pretty solid card. Who throws a head? Seriously. Honestly, people.
Somebody's playing a prank on
And
me.
yeah, I don't know, pretty fine card. Nothing too exciting, just like cheap. It's an artifact for your artifact synergy stuff, and then it can push through some damage. It's pretty cool as well. Draw Skull Bomb. 1 mana for a Skull Bomb in black. 3 mana to raise that a creature and draw a card. Also a pretty good value card. You know, draw a card, raise that a creature is pretty good. It's clunky. It's a little slow, but good grindy card if you're a slower deck. Again, slow, kind of clunky, but reasonable, passable. And of course, the fact that these cards just cycle for 2 mana is also pretty reasonable as well. So you just like, the opportunity cost here is super low. Dune Mover. Set it for a 2/1 with Toxic 1. And when an ETB search library for a basic land card, you can put it on top of your deck if you want to. You don't have to, which is very, very important because that would be terrible if you had to. This is just what's that card called? Mr. Saban. Planner Guide, something. I don't know, honestly. But the effect is not great because obviously it's not card advantage. This is mana fixing. But having it on a campus guide, and having this on a Toxic 2-drop is honestly pretty good because Toxic 2-drops have a decent amount of value for sure. So a fine card. It's an artifact. Does a lot of little things right for sure. It's an artifact for the artifact decks, toxic card for the toxic decks. Can mana fix you. Can help get a splash color. It's fine. Yeah, it's a fine filler card for limited. The Filigree Silex. We freaking love Silexes lately. 2 mana for an artifact. Tap it to put an oil counter on it. Tap it to sacrifice it and destroy each non-land permanent with mana value equal to the number of oil counters on it. So Ratchet Bomb, basically. Tap it to remove 10 oil counters from among permanents you control and sacrifice the Silex to deal 10 damage to any target. That's kind of crazy, honestly, because there's a lot of oil counter stuff. And if you're just like playing a bunch of oil counter cards and just like play this and 10-ball someone out of nowhere, that's pretty insane, honestly. So I feel like if you're playing a deck where you're an oil counter deck and you're on a board stall, you want to just like bring us in and just like kill them, it's kind of cool too. And like, yeah, there's a lot of cards that put like 5 oil counters, 4 oil counters. So kind of an interesting card in that respect as well. So kind of a weird Ratchet Bomb / oil counter payoff card that will probably see play because Ratchet Bomb is borderline playable anyway. So kind of an interesting card, honestly. And then limited, I think this card's great. Ratchet Bomb is passable, and then 10 oil counters limited should be pretty reasonable, honestly. And 10 damage is a lot. If this didn't go face, it would suck. But 10 damage to the face is pretty good. Furnace Skull Bomb, the red Skull Bomb, 1 mana, pay 2, put 2 oil counters on a creature or artifact creature, then draw a card. Kind of a cool enabler. Less universally good than like the white one is or the black one is because like they just do a more universally applicable thing. But if you care about oil counters, this is a better job with that. It's pretty cheap, low floor, reasonable. Graz, Unstoppable Juggernaut.
Good lord. Gigantism.
I gotta get the Juggernaut on my soundboard, right? 8 mana for a 7/5 Juggernaut. Juggernauts must attack each turn if able. Juggernauts can't be blocked by walls. Are there any walls in the set? I feel like there aren't. I feel like there actually aren't. Other creatures you control have base power times 5/3 and are Juggernauts in addition to the other types. So, pretty fun card, honestly. Making all of your things into 5/3 is actually really good. Because if you have like a 2/2 and a 1/1 token and whatever. 8 mana is a heinous amount of mana though. So, constructed, I mean, no. Just not really. But limited, pretty fun card to build up to. I guess like maybe if you're Power Stoning in limited, that can be kind of cool. But yeah, 8 mana is a lot. The effect is really fun. But I feel like this could have been like a 5/3 itself, and then cost like 6 maybe, and then it's like pretty sweet. But all in all, a cute card, but not really a super fun card. Acreplate Golem, 2 mana for a 2/3. Whenever a creature EDBs under your control with an oil counter, put an extra 1 on it, and then creatures you control with oil counters get +1/+1. Good limited card. Again, oil counters are a huge deal on limited. 2/3 Anthem that gives you more oil counters, pretty sweet. So it's cool. Good draft card. Maze Skull Bomb. I mean, it could have been this one or the white one, honestly. But the idea here is basically that like this is a very cheap way to push your creatures through for damage. So 1 mana artifact, sacrifice it like a spell bomb, whatever. Pay 3, sacrifice it, and you can do +3/+3 and trample at its sorcery speed. That's pretty good, honestly. So you have a toxic creature to push through. You have a 5/5 in play. Now it's an 8/8 with trample. So as far as like finishing a game goes, this card's fine. Don't look at the sorcery part as a downside because this is not a way. It's not a combat trick. This is just a push thing through kind of thing. You gotta be careful because if you target a creature and they kill it response, you will lose the draw and lose everything. But as far as wanting to push through damage, this card does that pretty well. I think this card is better than Titanic Growth, which is the +4/+4 instant, because that card is just a bad, inefficient trick, whereas this card pushes damage, which is great. So, likes card, Bombin Common. Not many options here for Bombin Common here in the color section, but it's the winner. Mirror Safe House, 2 mana for an artifact. As long as this card is on the battlefield, it has all activated abilities of land cards in graveyard. Really, really, very bizarre card. What do you do with this card? I have no idea, honestly. There are obviously a lot of lands in Magic that have activated abilities. I got nothing. You figure it out. Don't play it unlimited. You figure it out constructed. You figure it out. You tell me about it. All right. I did the work for every damn card in this set. You can do work for one card. Let me know what you think. All right. Moving on. Monument to Perfection. Is that Kozilek? Or am I seeing things? Is Kozilek hanging out in Phyrexian stuff? Is there some sort of like Kozilek, Phyrexian, Eldrazi, Mega Eldritch, whatever connection here? No? Yes? 2 mana for artifacts. Pay 3, tap, search for a basic sphere or locust, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. So this is a Journeyer's Kite, not a very good card. You can pay 3 mana to make this thing into a 9/9 Phyrexian construct artifact creature. Loses all abilities and gains indestructible and toxic 9. But you can only use this ability if you have 9 or more differently named lands, only among basic spheres and locusts. I guess they learned their lesson here with Field of the Dead, because you can't have dual lands, you can't have any non-basics or spheres or locusts. I think if it just was 9 or more lands, period, it would be at least interesting. Without that, I mean, what the hell are you doing with this card? You know, because Journeyer's Kite is not a good Magic card. 2 mana for an artifact to find a land is pretty bad. So yeah, way too many safeguards. In limited, this card's fine because, like, is it fine? I guess, like, if you can actively get 9 or more land types in play and activate it, sure. It's not even that good, honestly. I don't know. This card's pretty bad. What do you want from me? I'm trying to upsell it, but I just can't. The card's bad. What do you want? Mirror Convert. 2 mana for a 2/1 Mirror, Toxic 1, pay 2 life, add a mana of any color. Solid card. Target could definitely see playing constructed, I think. Fine. Good limited card. You know, mana creatures are good. It's a non-green mana creature. Makes any color. 2 life hurts. And then Toxic 1 is also reasonable too. So it's a fine card. Not exciting, but could see fringe play. Humble, obedient, and tireless may require little modification to excel as servants of Phyrexia. That sucks. Leave them alone. They're just trying to do their jobs, you know? Mirror Custodian, 2 mana for a 2/3. This is your typical artifact smoother card in limited. 2/3 for 3. EDB scry 2, opponent scries 1. Just something that can help both players kind of smooth their draws out. Not good enough to play. This is total filler as a 2/3. But Mirror Kinsmith, 4 mana for a 3/1. Goblin Matron for a mirror. I have not been paying attention to creature types. Obviously, this card in Dominaria United was insane because it got the wall. Because it looked for walls. That was insane. But I doubt there are any mirrors at that class. So it is card advantage. Play this. Get a creature, block a 3/3 with it, sure, but too fragile and too iffy to be that exciting. Phyrexian Atlas, we have a 3 mana rock, tap for any color, and if they're corrupted, they lose a life also. I mean, if you're destined for a mana rock, sure, but pretty unexciting. Freddie Prism returns, that's cool.
Our hero
we like this card. I mean, obviously a card that's seen play constructed. It's a reasonable card as far as just like drawing cards, it's fodder. Black-green has some artifacty, sacrificey stuff, which it plays well in. Card's good. Prosthetic Injector. I think this card is going to be one of the most surprising cards in the set. I think this card is actively excellent in limited. 1 mana for equipment. Equip for 1. Couldn't ask for cheaper, obviously. +0/+2. Toxic 1. +0/+2 makes things pretty hard to block. You know, you have a bear, I have a bear. Now I have a 2/4. You can't really block it. And then Toxic's obviously great, too. It's super cheap, super efficient, and Toxic stacks. So if I already have a toxic creature, this thing isn't more toxic. So the reverse Bone Splitter. Obviously, Bone Splitter would be better because Bone Splitter is freaking great. But this card's pretty good. We rarely see equipment this cheap and this efficient. And efficiency is key with equipment because you're constantly want to move it around. And the kind of thing where like you attack, they can't block. You move it to your other 3/3, and now you block their shit too. So very good draft card, I think. I think it's gonna surprise a lot of folks. Very very good draft card. Ribskiff. What the 4 mana for a 4/4 Toxic 2 vehicle. ETB draw card. Crew 3. Drawing a card is nice, but doesn't really affect the board that much. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this card existed in a different format. It was like, you know, where it was like a similar idea. Vehicle that draws a card. Just not great. Crew 3 is a lot. It's a lot. And then Toxic 2 is cool and all, but just seems too slow and iffy. Soulless Jailer, your latest Dredge hate card, even though Dredge hasn't been good for years. It actually is a pretty good model right now. But 2 mana for an 0/4. Permanent cards or graveyards can't ETB, can't cast a card, non-creature spells from graveyards or exile. Yeah, it's a hate card for older formats. That's really it. Static Completion. This card sucks. Sorry. Just isn't good. I mean, like, 3 mana for a bad mana rock, a lot of life to draw a card. Just not very good. That's like the card from the other card that I like. Yeah, exactly. But sure, moving on. To Surgical Spell Bomb is the blue spell bomb is a bounce spell. Actually very good, honestly, for 2 reasons. 1, the cantrip bounce spell is pretty good in general. And then 2, blue cares about artifacts. So having extra artifacts around and then being able to sacrifice for value later is pretty cool too. So solid draft card, I think. Pretty cool one. Sword of Forge and Frontier. I think this one wins the award for the card that I'm like most sad about. The design here is awesome. I feel like, and I saw a Carmen Handy posted on Twitter that once they decided on the abilities for this card, they're like, it couldn't have been anything else. It took them forever to find the right abilities for the red green sword. And I agree that like light up a stage plus explore is really, really fun. The problem is that Magic has moved past the point of Sword of X and Y being remotely even good. Without Stoneforge Mystic, of course. You know, spending 5 mana trying to equip a creature, and even if you hit with it, like, you draw a card or 2. It's like, all right, sure, who cares, you know? And if you get blown out, you lose the game on the spot, kind of. And then the issue here also is that the protection of red and green are the best 2 colors at killing artifacts. So, like, I want to like this card. It is super cool. I feel like as a sword goes, it's a very fun design. It's definitely super cool. You know, but the problem is you can't spend 5 mana to only put an equipment on the board, not actually put anything else on board, not put a blocker in play, and then just like draw a card or whatever. So, yeah, I don't know. It's a cool design. It kind of bums me out a little bit, honestly, but I don't know. It is what it is. That's the problem with doing a cycle over the course of like 15 years, that like power creep will make the later parts of the cycle not very exciting. Tap on completion, 2 mana for an artifact. Tap to put an oil counter on it. Tap to add a colorless if there's 2 oil counters on it. Tap 1 to draw a card if there's 5 or more oil counters on it. Very slow card, honestly. You know, it's not really a mana rock. 5 is a lot of oil counters. I guess like this is a card for like the proliferate deck in limited probably, where you're just like adding oil counters, etc., and then drawing cards off of it. But probably too slow for any serious competitive play. Yeah, just a little slow, I think. Zee The Chronicler. I think people see cards like this and they think to themselves, oh, man, I keep losing to Esper and Grixis in Standard, and there were Fiends and their Corpse Praisers and their Blood Tithe Harvesters. I'll play this card. So they can't play with cards, they have to draw a card. Not actually thinking about how games of Magic play out. So you have 3-1 here for 2. Whenever a player casts their first multi-card spell each turn, each other player draws a card. So you play this card, and if they cast their Fiend, you draw a card. The problem is, they decide if they play a card or not to let you draw a card. And every card that would kill this is mono card. So it is very, very unlikely to draw you a card, nor is it solving any problem at all, and nor is it being good against the decks you're trying to be good against. So this card just sucks. That's no other way to put it. The only way that this card would be good is if there was some sort of multicolored deck that didn't have a lot of removal in it. So, for example, if the Joda deck got very popular, Joda Humans plays a bunch of multicolored humans and not a lot of removal spells, this card would be good against that deck because they aren't playing removal spells. But that's kind of a corner case, and you might just want more kill spells against them anyway. So, not very exciting, not a very good limited card. I mean, honestly, in limited, you know, it's a 3-1 for 2, which is fine. Draws a card, awesome. Do a backflip, do a high 5, but yeah, pretty weak card, not very exciting. We move on to our lands. We get Mirix here first. This is a sphere. I don't think there's anything that matters as far as spheres go, except for that one thing that searches for spheres. It's taps for colors. If it enters the battlefield this turn, taps for any colors. Kind of a cool like Tendo Ice Bridge. It's a strictly better version of the, I guess not strictly better. What's it called? The one that comes in tap, makes a color. because that card's better in Amulet Titan because he makes 2 mana, so it's not actually better than this card. But and then it can pay 3 to make a Might token, which is actually not a bad mana sink, honestly. The problem, of course, is that this card is not colored early on. Crumbling Prestige, thank you. As a mana sink, this card's pretty good. The mana to make a token is pretty awesome. So this card's definitely fine. It's not super exciting. The fact that it can help you on turn 1 or 2 when you play it to actually cast a colored spell and not mana screw is kind of cool. So this card's fine. This card will probably see some play. It has some good late game value and so on and so forth. But you know, it's fine. It's a cool little value land. The problem, of course, is that like you need to take when you look at a colorless value land, you have to take every single colorless value land in the entire format, stack them all up together, and that's competition. You know, if I'm looking at black 4-mana creatures, Sheoldred's here, but there only are so many black 4-mana creatures. But every single colorless land is up against every single other colorless land. This one probably isn't really great enough, better than like Mishra's Foundry and stuff like that. So, Monumental Facade, another sphere here. This one EDBs with 2 oil counters on it. You can move counters from this to a creature. Kind of cool, but again, colorless lands have this real big drawback, so I don't know. Good and limited for sure, I guess, but the Microsynth Gardens. This one is a riff on the typical, you know, taps for colorless, can filter a colorless into a color, so mana inefficient multicolor mana. You can also pay X to make this copy of a target non-token artifact control mana value X. Could be good in older formats, definitely for sure, as far as like copying broken artifacts or whatever, but again, it's a colorless land. I know it has a gold border on it and says mana of any color, but like that part of the card's really bad. So you don't want to rely on that at all. So just like this weird land that can copy things. You can copy like a Colossus Hammer or an Amulet Vigor or something like that, which is kind of cool for sure. So I would say in older formats for sure, this is like kind of a cool, possible, cutesy synergy card. But aside from that, you know, And then limited, like you don't really love this effect in limited, but like it's fine. The Seed Core. Wake up, creepy art Seed Core thing. Get our sleeper card for our colorless cards here. Taps for 1 mana of colorless. Taps for 1 mana of any color for Phyrexian spells. Now, it's totally important. I did not Phyrexian check the set. I haven't looked back to see what cards are Phyrexian or not. But I imagine most corrupted toxic cards are Phyrexian. So, and then if your opponent's corrupted, this thing is a like super penalty haven for your 1/1s. So this thing can be +2/+1, which is obviously really good. Things that make mites and so on and so forth. There's a lot of Phyrexians in the set. So if there's a toxic deck, if there's a a Phyrexian deck, etc., this card seems very good in that because the mana fixing is pretty great. No downside, just like kind of like the Cavern of Souls or whatever kind of effect. And then buffing mites is really good, actually. So, Penalhaven was great. This card's better than Penalhaven. And if you're playing like the White Bitter Blossom or whatever, that's real. If I have 3 1/1s, I attack with all of them. The one you block, I pump. That's really good. So, that's my sleeper of a Seed Core. Super sweet card. Great limited card, too, honestly. It's like phenomenally good limited card. So, it's great. Expanse returns!
Our hero returns.
Screw you, Evolving Wilds!
So you get nothing.
I don't know why it's the exact same card, but Terramorphic Expanse just has a special place in my heart. I won States that card a million years ago, and I don't know. I get to just put my old Terramorphic Expanses and I like it. Played block constructed with that card a lot in Time Spiral. So there's no relevance here beyond the name being different, but it's cool and I like it. It's also important fixing for limited too, kind of splash. Now we come to the spheres. So we have 5 spheres, 1 of each color, all do the exact same thing. They ETB tapped. They tap for 1 color. And you can spend 2 mana to sacrifice it and draw a card. All very good limited cards. Having a way to mitigate flooding is great. As we saw in Strixhaven, in New Capenna, the lands attacked for 4 were totally reasonable. They were duels, obviously, but very solid. And yeah, just good, cool draft cards for sure. And then we move on to our best in show. There's just no two way about it. Having the fast lands back is freaking awesome for 2 reasons. 1, they're good in standard. Obviously, I think this is actually my favorite cycle of dual lands because I want to cast things on turn 1. I hate tap lands because all tap lands do is encourage mid-range gameplay. But more importantly, we've finally completed the fast land cycle for Pioneer, Historic, and Explorer. Right? Oh my god, thank you so much. Having the mismatched mana bases in those formats sucked so bad. Because you feel bad because, I'm playing Rakdos. Especially for Copperline Gorge, for Gruul. Darkslick Shores for sure. Thicket especially for green aggro decks, for humans. Seagram Coast for blue-white auras. Getting these back is just so good. Just so awesome. Very, very happy about it. I got my old copies from Standard. And, whew! I'm happy. Best in show. Not a very exciting best in show, obviously, because like there's freaking reprint dual lands. But hey, I'm pumped about it. You should be too. All right. And that's it. That's the whole set. To recap, best in show, the fast lands, sleeper card, the Seed Core, trap card, the Chronicler, and our Bombin Common is Maze Skullbomb. Once again, folks, thank you all so much for watching my complete set review of Phyrexia All Be One. I want to remind you all, if you missed anything in this entire set review, it's all on YouTube. Check out the YouTube, and again, please support me as a content creator. It's super easy to do. Like the video, leave a comment, follow me on Twitter, follow me on my platforms. You know, if you see things, like them, it's free. If you want to support me a little more than that, $5 a month to subscribe on Twitch or on YouTube membership. A lot of perks for that. We do Discord, holiday card, free events with prizes, etc., etc. But yeah, it's my job. This is what you all get to hang out with me while I look at Magic cards, and somehow that's my job. I don't really know why it is, but it is somehow just super, super great. So that's it. YouTube folks, love you, like, comment, subscribe, you're all great, and peace.